Good afternoon from sunny Arizona. An NGOs, or a non-governmental organization, are very active in our lives, even though it is not evident. An example of an NGO that is active in our lives would be volunteer groups that do the upkeep of national parks. An example of this would be the Salton Sea in Southern California. This park would have to shut down as a result of the debt of California, but it is requesting that volunteer workers come in and do the upkeep so that it can stay open. Another example of an NGO would be NGOs that research climate change and research possible prevention of further climate change or preparation for coming severe hazards that could become as a result of climate change. Last winter I went to Japan and I went to the tsunami struck region and did volunteer work with a Christian organization. After my experience here, I wondered how could I as an individual be more effective in aiding these people, or how could the NGO that I'm working with be more effective? In relation to this, we have studied over the semester that women's leaders are naturally nurturing and teamwork-oriented leaders and could be more effective in humanitarian aid than our current majority male leaders. First of all, so are women's NGOs different structurally than non-women's NGOs because they are different because women's leaders are different from male leaders? My thesis is that no, women's NGOs are no different than non-women's NGOs. This is because women's NGOs are primarily a category of non-governmental organizations. First of all, what is an NGO? An NGO, as I mentioned before, is a non-governmental organization. This means that it is not associated with the government in any way and is non-profit. It is run by volunteers primarily. The World Bank defines NGOs as organizations that aid the suffering. There are three categories of NGOs: advocacy NGOs, public benefit NGOs, or mutual benefit NGOs. Mutual benefit NGOs are NGOs that seek the benefit of the government as well as the public. Public benefits NGOs are NGOs that, like what I worked with, to aid the tsunami victims. They seek the benefit of the public. And advocacy NGOs are NGOs that advocate a certain policy. This is the category that women's NGOs go under. Women's NGOs are defined as NGOs that advocate feminist policies. This means that they pursue equality for women in the workplace, in society, and in leadership positions. In Pakistan, a review was conducted and they reviewed several women's NGOs. This review showed that several women's NGOs use the media to promote equality among women in the workforce and the society. This is a type of advocacy NGO because they are advocating women's NGO or advocating feminist policies in an Islamic nation that believes that women are inferior to men. Another example of an NGO, a women's NGO an example of a women's NGO that is providing aid to the suffering would be an women's NGO in Iraq, assisting women who are victims of domestic violence or war crimes. This NGO is applicable to the World Bank definition of an NGO and is very similar to the standard definition of an NGO. This is because it provides services to those suffering, the women that are suffering as a result of the wars and things that are happening in the Middle East. Both of these examples show how women's NGOs are primarily the same as non-women's NGOs. However, mainly the main difference between women's NGOs and non-women's NGOs is that women's NGOs primarily focus on feminist things like equality for all. But in addition to this, to the promotion of these policies, they also provide aid to many people. Thank you for listening.